because I'm a civil lawyer in Mexico. So,
darle hacia abajo, ¿no? Bueno, no le
okay. So, criminal law is one of the main areas we say, and maybe one of the most important. There is two types, if we can name like that. That is criminal prosecutions, that are when the government brings a case to the courts against a defendant, and criminal law, where when the government exercises some of the most powerful domestic powers to arrest an individual. Yep. And there are there is okay. These are the main parts of the criminal law. That is when the criminal procedure, when is the process, when administering criminal justice, for example, when a police officers make an arrest, and what happened after arrest, in the court, in the motion practice, in the hearings, in the trials. And criminal procedures also includes the context area of evidence hearing, including the prosecutions that the foreign maintenance topics. Then the substantive criminal law, that's the other part of the criminal law. Then it's when the criminal statutes that define what the crime is. These statutes are indicated by a legislature to be charged and ultimately convicted of a crime. There needs to be a statute defining that crime. For example, in New York, define the crime like the petit larceny, as a person is guilty of larceny when he steals a property. That's only New York, because it's different in the federal and in the states. Then the definitions of what the meaning of steals and property are different. And then the criminal law is engaged by different government units. The criminal law by different government units and sovereigns, that this includes the federal USA government and the state government. For example, here in Texas, and the other 49 states, New York, and Puerto Rico, I know
Alaska,
Hawaii, las islas, I don't remember well. So, one criminal act could violate the law of multiple states and could result in multiple prosecutions, and would not usually violate double jeopardy provisions. For example, a person shooting in the state of Texas, hitting a victim of a state of New York, is probably violating the law of both states. And another example could be a cybercriminal committing a cybercrime in Mexico and USA and in Texas. So probably maybe violating the federal law. And the authority of the government to prosecute and the court to hear that case is a marriage. It's just like a matter of jurisdiction. What are the elements of crime? It's in Roman, Latin it's mens rea, actus juris. That is the guilty mind and the guilty act. Most crimes require obviously a guilty mind or a mental state, a knowledge regardless, a criminal negligence, or maybe it could be accidents, common negligence, rarely become a basis of criminal action. And obviously, crime, a certain crime require a guilty act, the performance of action in rare circumstances or failure to the act might suffice. Compared to the civil law, construct like in Mexico and here in USA, I could tell us that it's not completely different, but yes, different. In contrast, the civil law essentially, like in Mexico, is just about the people, the money and contracts, not about crimes. In civil law, a private individual or company can bring a lawsuit against other. In criminal law, is the government against a defendant, like in Mexico. Where criminal law is immensely important for the people involved in victims, defendants, prosecutors, different authorities, judges, and all other participants in the crime. Civil law is much bigger than includes many specific areas of law. More lawyers practice individual than the criminal law here in USA. So that's it, my conclusion, my opinion. As you can notice, I'm not really expert in this crime. I know much about civil law and family law in Mexico, but I think here in USA the process to judge someone is faster than in Mexico and effective. You can tell us about which one is faster and effective here in USA than in Mexico, because there are not much phases in the process, and that's it.
Great.